Hi, everybody. Luke Thomas. Career's really bottomed out here. This is.
I mean, we're in the same hotel room, but I feel like as a disclaimer, we always have to add that I will not be sharing this bed.
No, you will not be. It will not be.
Mostly due to flatulence. Mostly, you know.
We're in Las Vegas. We had a big media day today.
It went great.
It went really great.
It was a Radio Row interview special. We got Ariel. I didn't even know he was going to be there.
He was there for a while too.
He was good to us.
Yeah, he was good to us.
That motherfucker. He was good to us.
He gave us the finger at first.
That's true. That's true.
Which is usually my bit. He stole my bit, but then he sat with us and we had a conversation. I have Dos Equis here. I'm trying to remember, what was the last time I had Dos Equis? Probably the last time I had Tequiza. Remember Tequiza?
No.
You never had Tequiza?
Tecate, you mean?
No, Tequiza.
You think this is getting in the way of your shot? I don't mean to direct your video.
It's fine. No, I want water here. Tequiza. I'm pretty sure it's called. Do you have your phone? I can't. We're recording this on my phone because.
I mean, what kind of nub setup you got going on in here?
It is not a great one. What do they say? There's a real. And Tequila would be Q-U-I. Tequiza.
Yeah, I figured that out. Anheuser-Busch's agave-infused Corona killer?
Yeah.
I do remember
Tequiza.
that now. Yeah, F that. That was gross.
All right, so what was the last time I had a Dos Equis? Probably college.
Yeah,
William
and Mary.
No, maybe
Steve
maybe like a
Winwood.
DC United game.
Not Winwood, with Bruce Hornsby. That's right.
That was my freshman year. I wasn't doing a lot of drinking. I didn't really start drinking until my sophomore year.
Yeah, when you joined
That's when I
that lame
started.
ass frat that changed your life,
Here's
and
the
you
thing.
got a social life. You know what I mean?
Dude, people are so wrong about this. It's like, dude,
I'll be the judge of that.
people who make fraternity life, they're like, dude, the weirdest part when you were an undergraduate was like alumni weekend. And like dudes are coming back, and like it's cool when they're like 1 or even 2 years out of college and they come back. That's actually great. But then you get the ones who are like 29. Sometimes they're bringing their kids through, and I'm like, dude, I think you aged out of this one.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
I never did that. I went back one time.
Okay, how weird was your initiation, though? Did you have to disrobe and like do something just embarrassing and fall? That's the shit. Where I'm
We
like,
did beer slides on the floor after playing Pong until like 4 in the
Oh,
morning.
you didn't have to like crawl on your hands and knees blindfolded as they hit you in the ass with a stick?
Do you know where hazing comes from? Do you know where that? Like,
I don't need a Greek lesson on the origin of mythology and
It's
history.
not mythology. No, it's not. Actually, the story is a little. It makes more sense when you think about it. Basically, these fraternities used to be. Part of what you do in a fraternity is you should have some kind of social project that you're working on, some kind of community give back. That is a part of it, and people think it's like designed to cover for other shit because they've turned into shit shows, and it has.
It's like those combat sports promotions are obviously just open money laundering jobs. You know what I mean? Like it's obvious.
a few of them.
They're airing live on YouTube. And yet
they're airing more than just YouTube. But the point I'm trying to make is that used to be a real thing back in the early part of the 20th century. But what happened was we had World War II. And after World War II, what did the government do? The government said, let's give the GI Bill to people who went to war for us so they can go to college. And so all these fucking guys who fought in World War II or were enlisted at that point, who then got out and used the GI Bill, they went to these social organizations and they were like, let me show you the fuck games that we used to play.
Ah, so the military.
It comes 100% from the military.
So that's where frats got into like running trains on chicks and shit, just straight from your Marine buddies.
It comes
pretty much.
directly from the military. That is where it comes from.
What's a worse bro culture, the military or the UFC?
The UFC. When you say bro culture, like among who? Among like people that we circulate with?
Yeah.
Then it would be UFC. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
How's that cerveza?
I haven't had a single sip of this bitch yet.
You had a sip of that weed beer over there, right?
I had a few sips of that weed beer. It's actually weed soda.
Yeah, that first sip is gonna go down like a gross blowjob, right? It's gonna
Fucking varnish.
yeah. So this is Room Service Diaries 1.0.
Yeah.
The original.
The original, the OG. Super high production budget.
Yeah, we got a cell phone, and I was pleasantly surprised your room didn't smell like shit. Really, produced from your body.
You know what it is? I bag up my laundry quicker. As soon as I'm done, I bag it in the laundry and I put it in the closet.
What are you doing to your laundry that's making it smell so badly like shit?
Well, dude, I mean, do you think crop dusting comes with no cost?
You're like 9 hours on a plane? Yeah, I get air.
I mean, what do you think the back of my pants smells like after a cross-country flight of me just farting with impunity?
You always do direct flights. This is why my wife hates traveling with me for two reasons. One, because I only wear sweats when I fly. because I'm a veteran, right?
Yep.
And 2, because I won't talk on the flight. I'll go instantly try to go to sleep because I've trained my body to get through the anxiety of it all.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this. I have no idea where I'm going with this story, but it was really going to just hit hard.
Your wife travel you?
I'll tell you this is I don't have the direct access because I fly out of Hartford. Like pre-pandemic, there were a lot of direct flights out of Hartford every day, going everywhere. Now, not so much. So inevitably, if I'm going to fly to the West Coast, it's like a 9 to 10 hour, front door to end
you
door
get
operation.
on me about leaving DC, you need to rethink your fucking life.
So that's where I could understand the idea of swamp ass. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Maybe you're just a natural swamp ass, or maybe it just comes with it. Like,
I will tell you that my wife, she says things to me that, like, she's like, I've never heard a creature, with the exception of perhaps a zoo animal, who can fart with the way that you can.
With the thunder and the
she goes, your ass yells at me.
Yeah. And she probably says that in like that cute crossover broken English, right? Where it's just sort of
my wife's English is fluent.
No, when Canelo was talking about Oscar, and he was like, "Oh yeah, if he would come over to me,
we'd fuck.
We fuck."
We're
like fuck him up. That's what you meant, right?
I'm telling you, the last part, they fucked that. That's the part they get wrong. They add in the
because they've got
direction.
Alabama power, they've got Chinese power.
We're going to bang
each other. Yeah. Bang Bang Zang is my guy.
Hey, look at this. They always have this whenever you show up.
I used to save every single one of those when you come to the MGM. I used to save all the swag.
The only thing I save, I'll tell you one thing I save: credential.
I saved the credential. I saved the room key when they don't really do it.
They don't do that anymore, yeah.
But I used to
I have
save...
Mayweather Pacquiao and Mayweather McGregor room keys.
Oh, dude, my favorite one that I have, I've played this on the air before. I have the RDA versus Conor one, which I love from 196. Oh, yeah.
Well, but they never fought. So
they never fought. And when I checked in, I said, "Hey, do you have any of those room keys?" They go, "No, I don't know if you saw the main event changed." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." I'm like, "I want the RDA ones."
And
they were
gave it to you.
So it was a young
you got
girl,
the limited edition.
and she reached under the thing. She was like, "Oh, we have a box left over." And I was like, "Oh, can you give me like 20 of them?" She's like, "No, I'll give you 2." So that was the end of that.
Still, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like those.
I like weird shit like that. That's why I have the Rockhold Weidman 2 UFC 199 poster on my office wall. I got the. I got a few other weird. Oh, I got the UFC 200 McGregor Diaz poster, which is hard to find as well.
Yeah, There's. I mean, I'm not interested in like MMA lore in that way.
Yeah.
I have no. That's not true. Well, what you call it? What was it? UFC 116 Lesnar Carwin.
Yes.
So Danny Segura got me that poster, which I do have. It's
love that.
Which is cool.
Fight card, love that poster. Yeah, absolutely.
The fight was incredible.
Danny Segura, I saw him in Miami on the Baddest tour. I love that guy.
Danny's great.
Yeah, like I won't like make him a part of my family like you do, but I really love that guy.
So you just want to keep him? Why? Because he's a minority?
Wow. I was trying to set up a joke to get to that picture. You know that weird picture I have on my phone when we were at the MMA beat?
You have like a dog with a baseball hat on your phone?
I have a lot of weird photos, but I have this one where you are showing Danny Segura a judo throw, but it looks like you're like molesting him and man hugging him. It's one of my favorite photos.
How old is this?
I'll find it right now. Why don't you entertain the people? Tell them.
Is it old?
No, it's from the MMA beat when I.
Oh yeah, that's old. I consider pre-pandemic old.
Okay.
I mean, dude, there's a whole crop of MMA fans who didn't start watching until that entire episode of our lives was over. Like, think about that for a second. That is a long time ago. If that's what we're dealing with, dude, the takes on MMA Twitter. I mean, oh my God, they've gotten so bad.
Yeah.
People just saying completely.
Give me an example. Give me a topic of just bad shit takes.
At times, there's been like technique breakdowns where someone's like, I can't believe they did this, and there was like a perfectly good reason why they did it. Yeah, it does look like I am having a moment with him.
Yeah, I mean, I was willing to consider continuing the filming of this just to see where it went. Like, will it cross the lines?
Like
who's the power bottom? That's really my...
a lot of revisionist history about like who used to be good. There's so much of that. Like, was GSP really that good? You dumb fucks. I was there for every one of his fights. Trust me when I tell you, if GSP got started today, like, at whatever age he started back at that time, like 12, whatever, and he grew up in this current modern era, he would smoke the fuck out of these people.
Yeah, on a prime Volk level.
Like, dude, the athletic difference between him and his rivals, to say nothing of the technical difference, just the athletic difference alone. Like, dude, like, I know Matt Serra won the first one because MMA's crazy, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But then when you watch him fucking manhandle, carefully, but manhandle Matt Serra, it's like, dude, these guys couldn't do. When GSP wanted to move downhill on you, it was over.
And then when he greased up for a fight, you knew it was over.
It was a little bit
This is
there.
why I was talking about not welcoming Danny into the family. Because, I mean, this was virtual second base where I come from. This was, this is borderline.
You're annoying.
All right. Well, all right.
So I bought Dune 2 on my TV, and I still haven't watched it.
Okay, once again, a-hole. You're going to inevitably watch it on a phone while you're half asleep.
I'm going to watch it on my flight.
You're going to be like, oh, I think it was pretty good, BC. Yeah, because you watched it on a fucking flight folded up in a thing like this. Dude, go to it's still in the theaters. We should go right now. It's still
I think I checked in DC. It's not. I didn't see it. Not anywhere. Not my 2 normal theaters. They didn't have it.
It could have changed your life. It's not going to change your life now. It's just going to be like, oh, yeah, that was pretty good.
I don't know. I feel like when what I hear about it, like the story is good, the acting is good.
Everything about it was great.
Yeah, exactly. I don't hear a single bad thing about it. So I'm looking forward to seeing it, but I still have not actually fucking watched it. Dude, I have to watch so much kids programming. Like the Bluey is on in my house. You don't know shit of no, not Blippi, Bluey.
Who's that? Like a non-sexual molester version of Blippi?
I didn't call him a sexual molester. I called him a moron.
Yes,
that was what I called him. Bluey's an Australian cartoon that is like the biggest hit with parents everywhere right now.
Bigger than the Wiggles?
I mean, I'm not sure, but I think so, dude.
I mean, they were the Australian Beatles. I mean, come on.
No. I mean, no, but it's a cartoon, and it's like the dog is Bluey, then there's Bingo and all that shit. So I'm telling you, lo mejor, as they call it, the best.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those in college. Wasn't able to get too far with them, though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, all right. I never know if these are good. Is this what the people want?
When you say in college, you just sort of mean like that time of your life.
That time of my life, because I wasn't in sleepaway college, but I was. You know what I was though?
Yeah,
an asshole. First of all, but second of all, I was that dude who went to my 3 or 4 best friends' college every weekend. So I became a regular at multiple colleges.
You were what we called a townie. You were a townie.
Yeah.
Townies are weird.
They're desperate for attention.
Yeah.
It's just they're.
There's just a new crop of kids coming through all the time.
Yeah. Hey, how badass is this shirt? I mean, can we just?
Where did you get it?
Brandon Wise bought it for me because he knows of my affliction.
When did he get it? Like, how old is this?
I probably have owned it for 3.5 years now. Yeah. I mean, it was from the Reebok era,
I understand.
My favorite era in UFC history. By the way, and I say it before I'll say it again. When they show flashes of old fights, the pre-Reebok era, the multiple sign dynamic fastener, that era, it looks AAA baseball, it looks minor league, because I know that we would prefer the fighters to get more revenue, so it's not that argument. It's just the clean aesthetic look. It looks like the Barnyard days. Whereas I think the Reebok era, when you see images from those fights, looks professional uniform. I get why they did it.
Yeah, that's why they did it. Yeah.
Venom, not so much.
You see all those ads on the Octagon, and your first thought is, well, at least the uniforms are clean. Is that what you really think?
Well, not
they
in
have
that order,
absolutely abused. I mean, that argument can't possibly be true. It can't possibly be true.
And we all hated the Reebok era and the beginning of the Reebok era until some smart ones like me realized that it was clean.
I definitely feel like in certain cases it leveled up presentation. In certain cases or certain iterations,
Venom's a step back.
But like, nothing will top fighters being able to have individual ownership over their look.
Okay.
What that did was it raised the floor. So like the super shitty ones weren't super shitty.
Yeah.
But the problem was it brought down the good one into just another version of the same thing. So you didn't get like people who are really go all out. Like, Lopez had that shitty performance, but he came out with a top hat and he was the circus master. Like, it was this whole thing. You didn't see this? Teofimo Lopez?
Oh, yeah. I thought you were talking about
That's what I'm saying. Is like I'm saying you don't see that.
There's a lot of guys named Lopez, so that's what I was.
Sorry, Teofimo Lopez, when he came out as the circus master for his last fight. Yeah. Not Jermaine Ortiz. It was, or was it Jermaine Ortiz?
No, it was the fight after that where he didn't look great. Or maybe it was Jermaine Ortiz.
Anyway,
right.
so
yes.
I'm just trying to say, like, you lost that, so you could pull the bottom up and make it a little bit better. It's like, I get it, but
this is where I got to give UFC credit right now. What happened at 300, the continuation of the personalized trunks. Like the Max ones with the flowers, with that Hawaiian floral look, looked badass. Poatan with the Brazilian Aboriginal tribe pattern look looked badass. I know we've seen Bryce Mitchell before with the whatever you call it. What do you call it?
Camo.
I want to see the continuation of that.
Here's what I'm going to say about those designs. If you just see the designs or like the shorts themselves, I did like them. I like them a lot. No problem. I will say, did you not feel like the shorts themselves, including Powhatans and Holloway's in particular, they were very busy. There was just a lot of print. And then these guys are also covered in a ton of tattoos.
Oh, so you think it's just one blur?
It's just a lot of busyness.
Yeah.
Rather than there being like a more like cohesive look.
Like the solid colored trunks would have offset.
I sound like Tim Gunn trying to fucking talk about this.
Who's Tim Gunn?
The dude from the dude with Heidi Klum. They do the my wife watches it. What's the name of the show? They do the fashion competition where they have to build their own clothes and shit.
I don't know. Heidi Klum's on America's Got Talent. AGT.
Is she really?
Yeah.
Oh, she must be getting fucking big checks.
Yeah, big, like giant ones, knocker size checks, right? You know, just massive ones.
You go to one Canelo media day and this gringo can't even help himself.
Now, what would you say about?
There was a lot of talent there today.
There was a lot. What you're really trying to say was there was a lot of foreign journalist talent.
Yes, there was. Yes, there was. There was a lot of talent.
Not just from your side of the field, which is Hispaniola, if you will. Latin America.
Yeah, I mean, not just that. That's true.
But even my side of the field, which is like of Russian and Polish origin.
Yes,
you know?
yes, that's. Oh, I forgot about that. Yes,
Yeah.
you're right. That was on display as well.
Yeah, I guess we were talent scouting in a weird, regrettable way.
It's like BC. You can't walk around with your pants around your ankles.
No,
you gotta hike them jokers up.
You know, I have to say, it felt good today. Vegas felt good. Canelo, maybe it's just being back with Canelo. We know the arenas. You're not staying for the fight. I am. The arena is going to be rocking Saturday night.
Think so?
I think so. Because the Mexican crowd, I'll know this from many Canelo fight weeks, always arrives super late. They'll come in tomorrow, and they'll come in droves. So I'm actually crazy excited about, even though this, by the time people watch this, it won't be, but Friday's the weigh-in. They're doing it noon Pacific, outdoors, outside the arena.
Ooh, it's gonna be hot.
Yeah, but it's going to be badass. Because when they did that for Tank versus Ryan, I told you, I always tell you that story. The crowds were around the corner of T-Mobile where they could not even by chance see the stage, but they were just extended out there to just feel it, hear it, I don't know, smell it, taste it. Let me smell it. Let me smell it. Remember Snoop Dogg and Half Baked?
No, I mean yes, but
yeah, that
no.
little cameo on the front steps where he was bogarting the joint, and then they cut to Willie Nelson, and he was
God.
like, "Man, I remember when a dime bag used to cost a dime." You know what I mean? Yeah. Remember how much condoms cost back then? I don't know. We never used them. I don't know if you lived the same life I did in the '90s. I'm like waiting for you to deliver the punchline.
I had a bunch of monogamous relationships that lasted a little while, so.
With
Not
people?
not not a lot of condom use in those.
Yeah, no.
I mean, some.
Yeah,
but
but
not
you
a ton.
watched Half Baked a million times, like
yeah.
a guy our age would have, right?
No, I only caught it later. Once I got out of the military, I caught it like after the fact. I didn't hang around with stoners until my later 20s. Yeah.
I think I grew up in a stoner town.
Yeah, that's the difference. Yeah, I didn't get the stoner treatment until much later. In
yeah,
my life.
Valdosta, not really into that jam, right?
I mean, there's people like that everywhere. There's a university there. Like, there's people like that there.
Okay, I know people, when people ask you where you're from, what's your hometown, you say D.C.,
Yeah.
and it matches up because you did live in D.C. as a kid for part of your youth,
Yes.
and then you now, for all of your adult life, have lived in D.C. for the most
Mostly,
part, except
yeah.
for New York City. But I always think of when people say, what's your hometown, that you would say the place you graduated high school from. Now, I know
I
that
went to that high
differs-
school for 2 years.
I know that differs if people have traveled or were a military brat or whatever,
Yeah.
but like what would be the answer to that question from a high school sense? It would be multiple answers, or what would be like what town were you living in when you graduated high school?
Marietta, Georgia. Marietta,
Okay,
Georgia.
so Big Chicken, Marietta, that's your
Big Chicken.
hometown.
That's not my hometown. That's a place that I lived for 2 years.
Okay,
That's
okay.
it.
It was very formulative 2 years though, right?
Formulative?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I silenced the T there. I was just, yeah. Low T. Who would have thought with BC, right?
It was, yes. I mean, your junior and senior year of high school are significant years of your youth. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, weirdly, I will say this for its lasting value. I don't really keep in touch with people I went to high school with in Valdosta. A little bit, not much. But like my best friend is a guy who was our valedictorian. Actually, my best friend was a valedictorian, and then my other we were kind of like a group. He's like a very very good friend. He lives in D.C. He went to Georgetown.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
He was the salutatorian. So the number one and number two
So your best
were in the
friends were
friend circle.
absolute nerd jobbers.
Not in the way you might imagine, but yes.
Okay.
Yes, they weren't they didn't get picked on. Not that much.
See, I still live 45 minutes away from my hometown, so I'm close enough to hang out with the boys. but far enough to feel like I'm not catching the runoff. From the river
It was
anymore.
dude, Georgia always was like I always felt like the cool kids in Georgia at the time in which I was in high school. So this is 94 to 98. They were rich, right? Not all of them, but most of them. But I never, ever, 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 ever envied them. Not a fucking day.
Yeah.
Not a fucking day.
They were all future Duke lacrosse players mostly, right?
Not even that, dude. A lot of them were like evangelicals.
Oh, yeah, you hate people that see the light.
No. I didn't say Christians. I said evangelicals. Big,
Well,
big
they
fucking
aggressively
difference.
see the light.
Yeah. And then want to
Then
rule.
they
And
actually
then want to rule your life.
They want to
about it.
wrap the light around your face. Yes,
Yeah. So, and by the way, not even real evangelicals, just like fucking posers. You know what I mean?
Okay, but I mean,
And these were all people who, like, you had a conversation with them and you couldn't wait for it to be over. You know, like, oh my God, this is the dumbest motherfucker. One of my friends hit another one of these motherfuckers in the head with a rock because he just couldn't take his shit anymore.
Wow, this is telling me so much about who you are and who you hung with. Who had better cans? Who had better chicks, Valdosta or Marietta?
Ooh.
That's the real answer.
Boy, that's a great question. I've never weighed it pound for pound.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who you are if you haven't, you know.
Probably Valdosta.
Oh yeah,
Probably.
Is that where Douglas Lima went?
No, he went to Wheeler, which was the high school that was our neighboring one.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, Wheeler's very close to the Big Chicken. Like Douglas Lima he's probably been through there a time or
Oh
two.
yeah, he's done damage. Now, would he have gone through a regrettable period of his youth where he potentially did whippets behind the garbage, behind, what do you call that thing, a dumpster, outside the Arby's parking lot in Waterbury, Connecticut? He wouldn't go that far.
I don't think he'd go that far. Did you ever have like a moment where you were like, man, dude, I'm doing nothing with my life? Did you ever have that?
Yeah, but not at 17 when we were in the back. We thought we were
Yeah,
still...
but like you knew...
So at 17 we thought we were invincible. It wasn't until I went to college, dropped out of college, began the work, like entered the shitty full-time workforce. Like at night I'd be part-time jobs at the newspaper writing because sports writing was my thing and I knew it. But like, you know, when you drop out of school and then you're literally taking a job at a nursing home cleaning the kitchen afterwards, which I did, you spend multiple years going, man, I took a left turn here. I mean, I took like a really hard left turn. But I think when you're in the midst of an ongoing, debilitating, multi-year depression, you realize you can't stop it.
But here's what I don't understand.
You can't stop
how
it.
are you not at 17? How are you not looking ahead and being like, I'm obviously not going to go to a good college, so what is the plan? That never dawned on you at 17?
You gotta understand, like, although my sister was like fourth in her class and went to a school, you know, did great in school and all that, but like, we had, you know, smart kids. It wasn't a bunch of rocks in a bin, but it wasn't a culture that, like, you still grew up with the goal of going to college and you knew that could get you ahead, but it was still an old school culture of like, yeah, I could also get a job at the street department right out of high school and, you know, work 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then go to the bar for the next 3 hours every single night with the same dudes. You know what I mean? Like, that was still that ingrained in us that it was just sort of like, it was cool to hang out in your hometown forever. You know what I mean? It was just,
oh, man.
I lived in the type of hometown that was quicksand to ambition. It really was.
I had a weird upbringing, but I had a brother 2 years older, and he was a high achiever, scholastically, very, very, very high achiever. And it was always like, are you keeping up with that? So
yeah,
I
didn't have that pressure.
No?
My parents obviously put pressure on me to do well. I couldn't play rec basketball if I didn't make the honor roll. Like, I had those built-in things that forced me to not give it away, but nothing they did ever actually activated me becoming the best I could be. I don't say it's their fault. I say it's more like the town's fault in a way. You know what I'm saying? By osmosis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess I understand that.
So, no, at 17, when you're behind the dumpster at Arby's, you're just like, you have no idea how you're going to pull off adulthood. You're basically just trying to stiff arm it as long as you can.
Oh,
you know
man,
what I mean?
I had a completely different experience.
My kids now, luckily, have the experience that you have. They're in a culture that is
well, I mean,
all
it's got
about
its downsides. I'm not saying, you know, one's better. Well, one is better than the other, but like that, every situation has positives and negatives. And that one, I didn't have a lot of fun. I mean, I had some, but
But I sort of had, so I have a sister that is the hardest worker. Like in middle school, was staying up past midnight studying every single night, like no matter what, was just a disciplined machine. And I watched how unhappy she was being unable to, at the time, juggle a social life with that, and just sort of like, I was like, if that's my future, because I got great grades growing up, so I was like, if that's my future, I don't want that. I want to enjoy. I want to endure. I want to have the experience. Now, granted, I didn't end up having the high school experience that now, years later, when you grow up and you become accomplished and you get confident, you're like, man, I wish I could go back and absolutely turn it around. But I definitely had fun. And there was a cost to having fun, right? I took my eyes off the prize, and that's how you end up dropping out of community. You know, you go to community college and end up dropping out of 4 years
That's
school.
how you major in bedpan technology.
Pretty much. But I definitely had an active decision at one point where I'm like, if I follow this road, I'll be successful, but I could be very unhappy.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I just had to always be thinking about it. I had to always be thinking about it. So, and even then, I didn't quite execute the way I wanted to.
But your dad expected you to excel, right? There was going to be no other expectation.
I mean, I wouldn't say he put it, honestly, and it wasn't like, I mean, my mom was my mom was a disciplinarian, like a big time disciplinarian. Yeah. My dad is not. My dad's got a very kind of laid back attitude with that kind of stuff. He kind of expects like if it's meant to be, it'll be kind of thing.
Sure.
But my brother like was not a workhorse. Like, dude, things came to him easily. You know what I mean? I remember him studying for the SAT, and don't get me wrong, dude, like he put in the hours, but then I would see what other hours kids would put in, and they wouldn't even come close to my brother's like scores, and I'd be like, fuck, like it was easy for him.
Yeah.
So
that's why he fucked around in his adult years and got a doctorate and didn't even tell you, right?
Well, I knew he was in school. I didn't know. Graduated #1 in his class. I was like in math. I was like
damn, these Thomases
from UVA. My brother was the one that. It's hard to explain. It's like, you ever seen those athletes? Of course you have. You've seen athletes who, you know, they weren't in no way were they fuck ups, but you know, were they giving it their all every time?
Right.
No,
right.
And they would still go out there and just stunt on people. Like, obviously, it's a silly way to compare academic performance, but it felt like that watching him. I was like,
the '90s stars say Clyde Drexler was like that. They're like, Clyde Drexler would pull into practice with the newspaper and no socks and his loafers, and then the coach would be like, all right, it's time to go, and he'd just slip the shoes on and wouldn't even do no warm ups and just be donking on people, just absolutely destroying people.
Just naturally better at it than his other basketball playing peers.
And for being one of the 50 greatest, well, I don't think he was the 50 greatest, but being a Hall of Famer in that conversation, dribble with his head down 24/7. No one ever talks about that enough. Like full on, like third grade.
Dude, I can't remember the last time I saw Clyde.
But then he just jump over people.
But dude, Clyde Drexler was also, he had like, you know, I remember like I would watch how guys looked when they were airborne after a big jump, and it wasn't just how high they would go, but like kind of how graceful they would look.
His legs would kick up behind him.
Clyde Drexler and like Dr. J was like this too. Just like they
were
like
gliders,
like gazelles out there.
Drexler also, by the way, retired a season after he scored 19 a game, so that's pretty awesome that he didn't linger at all. But here's his drawback. He didn't adjust to going bald quick enough. So he had all of his prime seasons were with like badly balding hair before he realized, oh, I'm a good-looking black guy and a superstar. I could just do the Michael Jordan and bick it off. And
he'd had the mustache though.
Yeah, he did have that thing going on.
Do you remember when Jordan kind of had like a semi-Hitler mustache?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yep.
And it was like, it's definitely not a Hitler mustache, but it's not distinctly not a Hitler mustache.
Curious, what do you, like we watched during the pandemic when Morning Combat was going on, and we all watched the...
Did you just slip up and say Morning Campbell?
Morning Campbell. I'm trying to get it there. I'm trying to change the direction of the show. The Last Dance with Jordan, and it profiled obviously what we already knew of, just this like fucking ruthless competitor.
Yeah, just fucking ruthless.
And Kobe modeled himself after that. And there is you've seen people like that in work, you've seen them in athletics. Like, do you respect that? Or is it like, no, you're just a one-note obsessive maniac?
So the way I would say that is, I don't know how you can't watch towering human achievements and not be blown away by them and like respect everything that it would take to reach these heights. And again, not just that they won championships, but a year after fucking year after year. And at every level. I mean, well, Kobe didn't play college, but, you know, at every stage of his development, the guy was a fucking winner, you know. And I mean, I'm just so blown away by it. And it tells you what is possible. Like, what is like extraordinary human achievement in basketball anyway? What does it look like? It looks like that. On the other hand, you would not want to be friends with these people.
No,
They're not awesome to hang around. They're not the life of the party.
Okay, we in this country are raised.
Maybe Jordan was a little bit because he would gamble and drink and shit.
He would let loose. But like we are raised in this country to look at Olympic athletes as like the ultimate holy grail of pureness and of everything that's patriotic and everything that's about winning and about accomplishing great things. But think about the obsessive nature of what you would have to be to get to a point when you're young, go, wow, I have super talent in this. I have talent to go really far. Maybe Olympics. And then to realize, like, it's not just your full-time job. It's your 24/7, every second of your life, honing this one craft you have. And imagine if, like, you're a 100-yard sprinter and you're building 4 years for one 9-second race.
Yeah,
you
for
know
one.
what I'm saying?
Well, a series of races, but one for the gold.
These people can't have friends. These people can't be in relationships. This is like...
It's like, oh, you want to go? Who has this bit? I think it's Kevin James. Kevin James was like, dude, you want fat friends. Yeah. He was like, if you have a super in shape friend, you're like, dude, you want to go get beers? I'm like, no, I can't, man. It's like, you got a fat friend. It's like, dude, you want to get some pizza? Hell yeah.
Yeah, we're getting ice cream on the way. Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I struggle with that sometimes because I'm like, because we're all trying to always tinker and go, you know, how do I max myself out more creatively, discipline-wise, workout-wise, nutrition-wise? You know, like you want to be... You know you have to have the balance. If you want to be great at your job, you got to bring everything up. But there's an obsession level that we sometimes can lean into that then you get into trouble with your wife and kids. And you're like, yeah, you're right. The last month I have been doing nothing but, you know, trying to make morning combat work or whatever you're doing. And then you realize that, like, you can't really accomplish anything without balance. These people are not balanced. Michael Jordan's not balanced.
No. But, like, you know, I mean, I don't know what kind of husbands or fathers these people were either.
Yeah, that's a good
probably
point.
Not flawed is what I would say. Probably very flawed.
Kobe went to Colorado. It happened.
You know, like, again, I mean, who's perfect? None of us. But I'm saying anybody, it's not just them. It's like anybody who's contributing that kind of psychotic level of effort to competitive professional struggle is... There's just going to be trade-offs. There's going to be trade-offs.
Every conversation with my therapist inevitably goes to control and balance. I've struggled with balance in every category of my life because I'm wired to be so all.
Yeah, I have the exact same problem.
So on all the time.
Like I went to dude. So when was the last time you went to an actual baseball game?
Oh God. Oh, when I was in D.C., my son and Chris and I went.
You went?
Yeah, but after 5 innings, he was like, "Can we go home now?" Like he was like, "That was fun, but like, can we go back to the hotel?"
So did they use the pitch clock?
No, that was pre-pitch.
Okay, so I should have asked you that one.
Or it might have been, but I wouldn't have noticed because I've been a little bit.
Okay, so I've been to now 2 games where I went. I didn't even tell you this. I went to 2 games that were post pitch clock. So now they're using it. And dude, the last one was Shohei Ohtani with the Dodgers.
Oh, wow.
Dude, he fucking bummed on the Nats.
Like not giving him a break, just come and pitch.
He did strike out once. But he hit like a stand-up double, a triple, and a home run.
Oh, was he pitching too? Or was
no, he was just hitting. He was just hitting. And I was like, first of all, just to watch a guy like that was fucking incredible. But the other part was this, dude. The pitch clock has made baseball so much better, because I didn't realize this. It's not just a pitch clock, which, by the way, that motherfucker's running the whole time. Yeah. If you're subbing out a new pitcher, there's a different clock that's going on. Between innings, there's another clock that's going on. Like they're pushing these fuckers along.
They kind of had to, though.
Dude, the game started at 6:45. We were out of there by 9. Maybe like 9:05, 9:07 or something like that. But like still before 9:15, before 9:20.
But think about it, like 20 to 25 years ago, I still lived for the Mets and baseball. I still could listen to games on the radio. I still was like, but now if you're a fan of baseball today and you are committing yourself to 162 games, even if you only care about 140 of them, that's Jordan level obsession that I think is weird and lacks balance.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
So they had to speed things up. It had to be more digestible. 162 games is the most ridiculous thing in hindsight ever.
Dude, and also, have you been paying attention? Like, they're just all these pitchers, they're getting this problem. I think it's called thoracic outlet syndrome. These motherfuckers, all of these dudes are throwing high 90s now.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane.
But then they won't throw a ton of innings. They got all on.
That's right. They sub them out after like 5 innings, and then these guys, they're just constantly rotating in this way, which used to be like a guy would pitch a complete game, and then there'd be like another guy try to get the whole thing done, and people would sit out for days and days at a time. Dude, that shit is over. It's a much more dynamic game. There's probably Europeans and Australians who are ever watching this being like, who gives a fuck? But it's weird to watch an old game that existed under these like dude, people always treated baseball like it was this religious fucking, you know what I mean? Like
there was a lot of
the
that going on.
spirit,
Yeah.
like just fucking masturbation. And then someone came along and was like, pick up the pace, fuckheads, and it got way better.
We're losing to TikTok and Jake Paul. Pick up the pace,
Yeah.
all right? You know, Mr. Beast is taking over, okay?
Also, we were between first and second base in the outfield. Dude, I'd never sat there before. I've sat everywhere. I've never sat there. We got like 30 fly balls hit into our area.
That's awesome.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, what the fuck, man?
So I only stayed there for 5 innings, but that stadium is nice. That's the first time I've
It's
been
pretty
there.
nice. It's pretty nice.
What I loved was walking down. They've got all those condos that are like kind of overlooking the stadium, and it's like a refurbished area there.
Yeah.
And they have that outdoor party zone before every game.
Yes.
Where you
It's
go
the
in
whole
there-
street.
Yeah, and it leads to this like kind of nonstop party as you're walking in.
Yeah.
So my son and I ended up moving around, but the seats I loved the most were center field bleachers, dead center.
Yes.
Where we were pretty far back, but just that straight on view was great.
I've seen the view from one of those apartments someone had with a TikTok. It's like, hey, if you had this apartment, you could actually, it's like Wrigley. You could actually just see right into it. But dude, like, who the fuck would want to live next to a noisy ass stadium?
If you're young, it'd be
Okay, if you're 25, fine, that'd be great.
Well, it depends, because you're like my wife. Well, I have 2 wives that are the same. She's the lightest sleeper of all time, and if she wakes up for any reason, she can't get back instantly. So, like, for me, I'm like, okay, I would just, like, put on the radio and fall asleep. Like, it wouldn't be a problem if there was
You're like, yeah,
loudness
my wife
outside.
can do that too. She puts on the TV to fall asleep. I'm like, I think this is bad for
But
you.
you have
It works.
issues. You have extreme sleep issues.
Yeah, I got earplugs right back there. So I have to take sleep medicine, I have to have a nose strip, and I have to have earplugs.
So if you didn't have any of that, would you legitimately be up until 4 a.m. or
Yeah.
would you fall asleep for 10 minutes, wake up, fall asleep for an hour?
I
wake
wouldn't
up?
be able to go to bed for a while. Yeah. Once I fell asleep, I would be
You're
okay.
that, I don't know what to say. I think tightly wired is the thing, but you're that, whatever word I'm missing, where you literally would be up all night if you didn't have drugs, earplugs.
I wouldn't say all night, but I would definitely have a very bad night's sleep.
What is going on?
Yeah. My whole family has sleep problems. It turns out. I've talked to my family, like,
But
all of them.
you do become a high achiever because of that. You accomplish a lot. But you're also on edge all the time.
Yeah, that's my problem is I'm on it. I'm
You're
on
about to go
edge all the
third world
time.
on me all the time.
No. But like I do, yeah. Like when I'm with my friends, like I'm constantly like checking my phone. They don't ever check their phone. You know,
That's
it's like
interesting.
they're like, "Are you really?" And I thought I was like toning it down. They're like, "Are you really checking your phone that much?" And I was like, "Shit," I've
Yo,
put it
you
away.
said you hung with Othello in real life?
Yeah, dude, many
They like
times.
couples and shit?
Yeah.
He seems like a good hang. I had fun working with him.
Yeah,
in
he's
Vegas
cool,
that time.
man. Othello's a great dude. He helps out a lot. He's been.
Does he like good music or anything cool?
So he's the one that introduced me to a lot of the
hardcore rap. Yeah,
rap
yeah.
you would hate. That was the guy. I'd never heard of it before him.
Is he a good athlete, Othello?
When he's disciplined, yeah, he's surprisingly good. I've seen him jacked before. It's been a little while, but I've definitely seen it. Yeah, he's done a bunch of cool shit.
Dude, I wanted to remember to shout out. We talk once in a while about
Bruno?
our allies in the media, but I don't think we talk enough sometimes about like the really good people. Did you see that great tweet that Simon Head gave us after today's
Simon
special?
Head's a great guy.
Yo, I
Yeah.
love Simon Head.
Yeah.
What a good dude.
Yeah, and dude, I don't know what level of like what's amazing to me about English like football fandom is like someone could be like a fucking hardcore fan of a tier 5 team.
Yeah.
Which I get to. I understand it. It's just we don't do that through our pro sports. Like in American pro sports, you're either the very top or pretty close to it, or you're just there not at all. You know what I mean? Yes, college is kind of like an intermediary, but you know what I mean? Like
we don't give a shit about our local minor league baseball team.
you might, but it would be under that circumstance or something where it's very much removed from like the very best. Anyway, well, I guess the minor league system is pretty close, but anyway, he's like a big fan of like his local team in that way.
Oh, that's cool.
And
And you know who else is cool? You know Matt Tucker, the camera guy, works with Marcos Villegas.
yes,
That guy rules.
nice guy. Yep,
Yeah.
great guy.
That guy's going to
Marcos
start a
is cool, too.
podcast where he gets drunk and he wants to have us on. All right.
I thought you said he was going to get drunk and wants to bang us, and I'm like, nah.
No,
I'm good on
I
that.
wouldn't. Not on camera at least, right? Like a lot of people would judge.
Dude, okay, so here's just completely how disconnected I am. Let's have a little fun. Have you heard of this podcast called Plug Talk?
No.
Oh my god! I've only okay. So I'm not going to pretend like I knew this information for a long time. I only found this out, and the way I saw it was like as some TikTok came through, and it was like a comedian's podcast, and they were having this conversation. Have you ever heard of Plug Talk? And okay, so the guy who hosts it is this dude named Adam22, who I guess.
Oh, that's the dude with the weird face tats, right?
He's got face tats. He interviews like rappers.
I only know that guy because
he's into like
he was on Chop Show, and then they did the switcheroo with.
Yeah, he does. Well, he does the switcheroo with people bang his wife, and he bangs.
Oh, I don't mean the switcheroo like couple swap. I meant like
I definitely
have
did.
each other on the podcast. Yeah, isn't
did.
he like a Jonathan Copenhaver type? He has a fighting background and he's in adult films.
I don't think he has a fighting background at all.
Or he might not be in prison for life either.
I don't know. I don't think he has any of that. But I don't know. He doesn't look like that. He just looks like he has a lot of tattoos. He doesn't look like he has an athletic background. But he has a podcast where like he'll interview porn stars and then just bang them. I'm not kidding. Every episode, it's somebody new, or two at once, or something like that. And I was like, they were talking about this, and I'm like, that can't be fucking real. That cannot be fucking real. Dude, it's real.
Like, does it go immediately from the end of the podcast to the bang? Or is there like, we'll be back in a few, we're going to get
So, cards on the table. I only double checked on 2 of them.
Okay.
And on both of them, it was not immediate. It wasn't like, cut, and then he just whips it out and they just go to work. That wasn't what it was. There was like a bit of an in-between, and they kind of got ready. Dude, it's like a production. And I was like, and the comedian was joking. He was like, how do you compete with this if you do a podcast? It's like, we talk about basketball on my podcast.
That's gross, though, to some level. I mean,
it's where we are. It's where we are.
I have to be honest with you. Like, if I was 20...
You want to go on that podcast?
Well, if I was 21... and the MMA fan then that I was now, I probably would have been throwing all my money at OnlyFans, especially for fighters that I'm watching. But now that I'm like not, and I'm married with kids, and I'm like, despite what you think of my shitty humor, I'm like a well-adjusted member of society.
Moderately, yeah.
I feel like really bad that it's so, and I know not everyone in MMA that's affiliated with OnlyFans is doing full-on like inner butthole tours, but. Yeah.
Which is the sole purpose of it.
I feels like I do, even though we make jokes about it, and even though I probably would have been a customer at some dirtbag point in my life, I feel bad that it's like, it's not even an issue. It's like accepted. Like,
would you feel bad if I told you what some of these, not just women, but let's just say some women in certain cases, how much they earn?
Yeah, because
like they're able to buy multiple properties cash.
I'm not saying it that like.
I'm not justifying. I'm saying does that change your opinion?
I'm not saying it like shame them for working the system and finding the gig that works. I mean, I'm door dashing sometimes, although I haven't done it in a long time. But like, I'm not. It's not that part of it. It's just that like, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, maybe one day that line of like sex work and it being fully accepted will blur so much that it's in the way that like we talk about weed now. It's everywhere. It's normal. Like maybe that will change. But like, I kind of feel sad that's the length you have to go to be able to pay to train your MMA career, and that we're all just sort of like cool with it, and it's shameless. It's exploitative.
But how much butthole is there on MMA?
I don't know. Twitter? I'm not going in here. I don't actually know what's being shown.
There is plenty of butthole on OnlyFans, but I don't know how much there is on MMA OnlyFans. I don't know how much there is.
Maybe that's the Puritan in me, Luke, but...
You should go investigate and let us know.
Yeah, I should come back with a full report.
Guys, there's an astounding amount of butthole.
It turns out, actually, I was wrong. I'm really enjoying it, actually. Yeah, you should have been a customer from day one.
Guys, was I hand-wringing about this? Because I recant.
Oh, man. At some point, it's like, I don't want to be in a position in life where only pipes is my only chance. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm telling you, I wish I had somebody who I could pimp who had beautiful feet. And then because all the loser ass dirtbags. If you're in defeat, you're such a piece of shit.
But what I'm saying is, isn't it gross taking part of that in any form? Imagine if there was a thing for fingers and I could just post.
I think you've got a lot of shame that you haven't resolved.
I don't know if I want to live where that's just like. No.
I mean, your question is like, would you want relatives of a similar profile doing the same kind of work?
Your close family. No, you wouldn't.
And then it certainly gets more complicated in there. I mean, listen, if someone was doing feet, like, I would say, okay, well, your clients are absolute fucking mongrels, but would you really have an issue with that? I would not have an issue with that.
It depends on what you're doing with
just glamour shots of feet.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean,
there's probably a little more.
Again, hard for the audience to stomach that I would fight this battle, but you know, I do at the end of the day have.
Dude, they can't all be school principals. You know what I mean?
True.
Like they can't all.
True.
Not everybody can fly helicopters. I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
I mean, if you figure out a loophole in the system and you can buy big houses, you know, Luke, and all you have to do is show the inner workings of your butthole, I mean, who am I to judge you?
System?
Yeah. Who am I to judge you in that regard? Wow.
I couldn't bring myself to pay for it though. That would be a new low. You're right. That would be a new low. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to kink shame, or in this case, it's an actual employment thing. But I tell you what, man. I'll say this. Whatever you can find to bring you sustainable peace, that's the best thing in the world. That's what you need.
but by contrast,
sustainable peace. I didn't say momentary peace. That's good too, but that's not really the big.
I hear what you're saying.
Sustainable
but
peace.
From the standpoint of like image, maybe nobody cares because it's MMA. Actually, of course, nobody outside of
nobody
MMA
cares about anything in MMA,
and they just assume MMA is the worst of everything. And in some ways, I mean, I cover boxing too. It is the worst of everything. But imagine if star WNBA player started doing exactly what we're talking about. Star female Olympic athlete. I don't think the general public would be. I don't think they would avoid shaming them. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I see. So, yeah. So these people who are more mainstream.
Yes.
You know, what would it mean if they were on
Caitlin
OnlyFans?
Clark or something. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
I mean, but the thing is, dude, she just signed what, a nearly $30 million deal with Nike. I mean,
true.
What the fuck's she gonna do on OnlyFans? You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would say this. I think if you are an athlete and then you're kind of if you're an active athlete and then you have to do this, and what I'll say is if it's not like very lucrative, right? Because I mean I think if you are an athlete and you do it, you know, and again we're talking a situation where you're showing butthole, right? To the extent that it even exists. If it's lucrative, that seems like a cost benefit kind of conversation that you have to have, and there could be ways you could say it's okay. But like if you're an athlete and you're doing it and it's not really all that lucrative, like maybe it's helpful but it's not really all that great, well then it just becomes, I think that's when you gotta like throw the towel, right? I don't know.
Yeah, mop that.
That's when you need a
Throw the towel and
who
mop
saved
that up.
Deontay? Who's the guy?
The ayahuasca guy?
No. The corner who we fired.
Oh, Mark Breland.
Mark Breland.
Yeah.
You got to be Mark Breland. You got to throw the towel for him.
Oh, you see that Turki Al-Sheikh wants to, even though Deontay's got to fight Bang Bang Zhang coming up, he's going to add Deontay versus Big Baby Jared Anderson to that already loaded August 3rd.
How is that possible?
Dude, this is the most insane development ever in
how
boxing.
Is that possible? How is that possible? I don't know how that's
There's
possible.
like 8 great fights on that card. And it's a single boxing pay-per-view, and you don't even have to go to Riyadh for it. It's in LA at a football stadium.
I'm going to be on vacation then.
But like that's crazy.
I can't believe it.
Like that's a fight that would never happen, but you'd be like, "Oh shit, I'd love to see the last great American heavyweight take on the guy that everybody outside of it, although he's got some issues outside the ring legitimately now with that most recent arrest. Remember he was like running away from the police and stuff.
He carjacked the Oh no!
No, it was Big Baby. That was the other Big Baby. Yeah, no, but like, dude, he's like the bright young American prospect of the moment, you know, in terms of heavyweights, like without question. Hey, dude, can I change subjects now that we're on heavyweights real quick?
Yeah.
We're talking a lot about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul on the horizon. You can see it. Conor McGregor coming back. You can see it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of big ones. I feel like almost nobody cares about Fury versus Usyk, and that makes me upset because that is like still also a boxing fan's dream to get an undisputed heavyweight championship between 2 unbeaten future Hall of Famers.
Dude, I don't think you realize how good we have it right now. People aren't talking about it because there's still a lot of other crazy shit to talk about.
Yeah.
Also, Fury kind of shit the bed against Ngannou, so there's that too. But dude, like combat sports right now. I mean, obviously, UFC's had a great. UFC 298, 299, and 300 were all great.
301.
301 is some, you know, it's not great. But well, I mean, actually, but this will air. Maybe it ended up being a lot of fun. But certainly on paper, I don't think it's going to do a lot of pay-per-view buys. But fucking boxing is on crystal meth right now.
I know. I mean, we're getting Bivol versus Better Beef. That weird 5-on-5 between rival promoters on that same card.
I don't even need half the shit, if I can be honest with you.
But
you know
dude,
what I
here's
mean?
what's crazy. So that 5-on-5, Frank Warren versus Eddie Hearn, is the pay-per-view on DAZN. But Top Rank and Bob Arum put their foot down and they said Bivol Better Beef has to be free on ESPN Plus to subscribers. So the main event of that pay-per-view is
free.
separate from it. And it's free on ESPN Plus. That's fucking awesome for boxing fans. That never happens.
I
You
know.
don't get a discount in boxing.
I know. It's fucking great, dude. Now is I don't know how long it's going to last, and I don't know what it's going to do to the sport long term. Your guess is as good as mine. People think the Saudis will always be here. I don't, but I mean they could be here for years. You know, they could be here for years. But I do think it's a finite amount of time they're going to be this interested in it. And yeah, I think people should, you know, if you're a boxing fan and you know you can get past any kind of moral dilemma, dude, they're doing crazy shit.
I mean, a year ago, boxing had its best year in a long time, but we essentially said, okay, the threat of Showtime going away forced PBC to really bring their absolute A game. And now PBC is going to have this inevitable hangover, which obviously they did because they started the year slowly. But they're coming back in the groove now. And then Saudi Arabia just slid in and was like, don't worry, fans, we got your back. We're actually going to get all of the promoters who hate each other to work together, including Heyman fighters on this August 3rd card.
I can't believe
just
it.
Fucking amazing.
I cannot believe it.
And it's not like UFC is going in the wrong direction or whatever, but man, this is a long hangover post 300. It's kind of just taken a while. There's a multiple card hangover. It's like, hey guys, I'll see you back there in May and June, right? I mean, it's or see you back there in June basically, you know. And June's going to kick ass, and the summer's going to be great, and you know it is, Luke.
How do you watch pornography on your phone?
Oh my god! I tried to get Ariel to rip on Roundtree versus Jamal Hill as the co-main event to International Fight Week.
Why do you do shit like that?
Because he needs to take that stand. You need to take that stand.
I don't hate that fight.
That is not an acceptable International Fight Week co-main event under any circumstances. And I know the whole argument is, oh, it's Conor, so the card's going to be watered down, which it is, and they always are. But this is extra watered down, and it's IFW. Didn't that used to be
Pull up. He asked us this, and I couldn't name it on air. Pull up Cowboy Cerrone and Conor. Let's look at that card.
Okay, I'm going to do that right now.
Granted, it's a different time, and I think that was still very much in the middle of the pandemic.
That was actually right before the pandemic. It was January of 2020, so it was right
before.
Right before. So here's your fight card, okay? Co-main event: Holly Holm, Raquel Pennington 2.
Oh, dude! I mean, get the fuck out of here. Hill versus Roundtree is miles better.
I lose that battle. That main card also had Alexia Olenek, Maurice Green. Ugh.
That's a terrible fight.
Brian Kelleher, O'Day Osborne. Oh my god.
That's not terrible, but that's not good.
Carlos Diego Fajeda against Anthony Pettis. It had the Modafferi versus Barber featured main event.
Oh, dude, this whole card is garbage.
Askar Elliott versus Tim Elliott on there. I like that.
Yeah, okay.
Sodiq Youssef, Andre Fili. I mean, that's okay. Okay.
That's a good one.
But
that's a good one.
All right, maybe I was wrong on that part of the argument. But the most recent ones with okay, let me give you a perfect comparison here. McGregor headlined International Fight Week 2 years ago with Poirier? 3 years ago?
Yeah, something like that. 2021, I think.
So this is July of 2021, UFC 264, the perfect comparison.
Okay.
International Fight Week, it's the last time Conor McGregor fought. Here's your fight card. McGregor-Poirier 3. Gilbert Burns, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson in the co-main.
That fight, I think, wasn't what everyone wanted it to be, but I don't have a problem with that one.
Tai Tuivasa, Greg Hardy on the main pay-per-view.
That one didn't go very long, right?
No, but it was something. Irene Aldana versus Yana Kunitskaya.
That's okay.
And Sean O'Malley, Chris Moutinho.
Dude, he beat the piss. Who was that supposed to be? Because Moutinho filled in on last minute notice. Who was that supposed to be?
I can read it here if I look, Luke, but you're going to lose interest by the time I find it.
No, I want to know.
All right, I can probably Louis Smolka.
That still would have been favoriting.
All right, I'll take back the fervency of my argument with Ariel earlier. I mean this one. I mean, you did have Ilia Topuria, but against Ryan Hall, you had DDP Jerkus Duplessis against Trevin Giles. I get that these are earlier versions where we weren't sure.
Giles, that was a back and forth fight. I had to rewatch that to do a tape study on him.
Yeah.
Giles gave it to him. In the end, DDP just kind of powered through like he always does. But
Michelle Pereira, Nico Price, which I liked on paper and was fun. Max Griffin, Carlos Condit, Olgai fight. Jennifer Maya, Jessica I. All right, I mean, it's comparing different shit stains for the most part.
Well, that's a little strong. I mean,
I just don't get how Jamal Hill goes from the 300 main event, which was happenstance that he went in there, to the IFW co-main event.
Dude, they did him he did them a solid.
So they're going to do him one in return.
Yeah,
I mean, it is a good fight against Roundtree. That's not the part that's like.
I mean, the only thing that's weird to me about it is like he gets knocked out. I don't know if it was a rule to knock out or TKO. I can't remember, but he gets put out or pretty close to it. And okay, fine. It wasn't a prolonged beating, but it was a pronounced one. And then he immediately signs another fight to fight against Roundtree, who, you know, I mean, I'm not saying Hill can't win that one. Hill's a good fighter, but like, dude, Roundtree's on a hot streak.
Yeah.
He's heavy-handed and fucking aggressive. Like, that seems real risky.
I just want to make sure Hill hasn't turned around too quick from the injury.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like, taking that kind of a fight on that kind of a turnaround, given what had happened, is like...
Yeah, that was interesting to see, but I don't know. Do you have high hopes that the UFC second half in 2024 will be very strong and will kick some ass?
I've completely changed my fandom. Like, here's what I mean. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, 300 was great for any number of reasons, not least of which is, you know, the card was stacked. And I know at MMA fans, they have this like kind of thing where they're always like, "Oh, the card has to be stacked. The card has to be stacked." It's going to sound kind of weird. Do I like a stacked card more than a non-stacked card? Does stacking a card matter? Yes, of course. Yes, of course it does. But I will tell you that, like, if you put on an epic enough main event,
or two great fights atop the marquee,
or just two. I can completely forgive almost just about anything.
Yes.
So, like, for example, I don't remember the card. It was a good card. But, like, dude, you could have put not much if you had given me Topuria and Volk, and then, you know, give me like another solid one. I mean, listen, MMA can stack more than boxing. So let's up it to 3, even 4, whatever. A main card, however you want to put it, a condensed thing. I don't need, like, the way I can say I haven't always felt this way, but the way I feel now is, the UFC product has expanded so much that you just have to have an expectation that the long stretches of it are not going to match the highest end of it even close.
Yeah.
So I kind of just stopped. I'm not saying I don't care, but like I don't care as much. But what I do care about, this is the part that I care the most about. Like in Topuria, that's why he's pissing everybody off. But like the big ones, you gotta make those.
Yeah.
That's the
I think they have to start putting them in epic locations. I know Dana's against doing the big stadium thing, but like think about it. Like when you watch a boxing match in the UK or what have you, and it's a 90,000 soccer stadium, and Anthony Joshua walks out to flaming his letters and flames like he's The Rock. I mean, like it's a fucking epic moment, and obviously UFC has had epic international moments like that, but go the full stadium thing. Go to Italy and go to like historic venues. Do some like when boxing starts to do a little bit of that and gets out of its own way just a bit. It's epic. So taking it from the normal stops, the normal NBA arenas, and actually like doing something big and hitting those main events hard, that does cover all sins.
I mean, dude, the UFC strength is that it's a super, you know, obviously they have a lot of resources, but it's a very powerful machine.
Yeah.
And the machine works aggressively, and at what it's designed to do, it fulfills those tasks. You all right over there? Very, very well.
Are you talking to me or?
I'm talking to you, the yawner. It's like, it's like your 5th yawn.
I've had a long day, Luke.
I mean, this is a great podcast. We're just going to yawn for an hour. But what I'm saying is, dude, they're a machine. But I think if there is a criticism of the machine, it's not that it can't do a lot, BC.
Yes.
It's that it's hard to get out of what the machine does. You're kind of constrained in what they do, which is a lot, and it's really great. But to your point, let's go do something different, like a stadium show.
No.
That's it. But by the way, they could do it. It just the machine has like inertia to just say what it does.
But like the thing about the stadium show, and I get that like it's not the best seat for everybody, and it becomes this, you know, but it's about the masses. It's about the moment. There's certain fights that almost demand that. Like we say, if Jones was going to fight Ngannou in the UFC, it would have to be at Allegiant in my mind, or Jerry World, because those are the venues that demand a fight that freaking big where you have to see it and you don't know.
It was the anniversary, whatever it was, like 13 year anniversary of GSP Jake Shields, which was in Toronto.
Yes, that was a moment. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
55,000. I went to that show. I remember this because I had to get my passport updated so I could go. My passport had expired. And so I had to get a new one, and I got it, and then I got to go. And also UFC denied me credentials, then changed their mind and gave them to me without me having to ask, by the way. It just came second. I was like, whoa. Okay, so that was kind of cool. Anyway, so then I went, and like, there's a video that Dana used to do. Like, he used to do vlogs back in the day, and Dana did a video where he does a walkthrough of was it Rogers Arena or whatever it was, about, like, all the production changes they had to make.
Yes.
So, for example, I remember one thing he said was, for a normal stadium show, we have this kind of wattage with this many speakers. For this show, we have this much wattage for this kind of speakers, and this screen, and like these lights, and like all this like massive scale up. So I remember getting to the arena and then watching everything. And did I have the closest seat? I had the media row that was kind of off to the to the top, not the top, but like not I wasn't on the media row. I was next to Mauro Ranallo. Dude, that crowd, yawning, that's number 6.
Ugh.
That crowd
Ugh.
went bananas when Jose Aldo kind of crumbled in the 5th round against Mark Hominick.
Yes.
They fucking lost their shit. And when GSP came out, dude, it was this iconic national moment. Did I have the best seat? Is my point? No, I did not have the best seat.
Experience.
But the experience was unlike anything.
The drug.
else.
So, Brokamoto, my guy.
Yeah, Brooklyn.
He always tells me when I hit him with, tell me like the moments you've enjoyed, and like, and he says being in Australia for the Holm Rousey head kick. Like
I can imagine.
That's the largest crowd in UFC history, right? That night.
That one, or what? Maybe one of the ones Izzy had done where he beat Whitaker. But
yeah, I think
in
it's
there.
still that
Marvel,
one around
Marvel,
56
Marvel
or
Stadium.
57.
Marvel Stadium.
Yeah, 1,000. Yeah, I want to be a part of something like that.
Dude, they haven't done something like that domestically, and like it's a completely different experience.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I mean, we went to Spence versus, for example, Spence versus
Ugas.
Ugas, which, by the way, was like well attended. It wasn't that was the
about
problem.
about 50,000.
But that isn't necessarily a stadium fight. That's like that needs to be in a stadium.
No,
I
they
got to
just
be
put
there.
it there, yeah.
I've never, unless I'm forgetting something, I've never been to a stadium for a fight where the fight and the pomp and circumstance matched it. I've been in MGM Grand Garden Arena for Floyd versus Canelo and Floyd versus Manny and all those moments, Floyd, where you're like, okay, this energy matched the moment of how big this is. I want to experience that in the UK soccer stadium or what have you. I want to, selfishly as a fan, I want to get that drug. Let me, you know what I mean?
Dude,
Let me smell it.
It's just one of those things. Like one of the things you can still create in the modern world is everyone together for a moment in time.
Yes.
Everyone together for a moment in time is becoming, I won't say rare and rarer, but it's still special. It's still special.
Speaking of everyone together, this is not an original thought. We've talked about this before, but the idea that the UFC is no longer chasing something in terms of like, they were always great at making the media and the fans feel like they were part of the fight with them, right? We're fighting for approval. We're fighting for ESPN attention. We're fighting for mainstream appeal. Oh, now we're on Fox. Now, like, it was like each level up, you're like, man, I was watching this sport when nobody was watching it, when it was almost illegal to watch it, and look at it now. Like, we're so far removed from that. I wish there was a fight that the UFC would. I mean, like, now their goals are so much in terms of like global takeover and stuff that the American fans aren't really gonna see and experience, that I don't feel like they're matchmaking in a way that is fueling them to try to accomplish and win something. They're in like full maintenance, how do we make the most money mode, but I want to get back to a point. And so what triggers that? Is it only competition? Or what is it that would trigger?
At this point, I think there is really,
But do you get that, what I'm talking about?
Yes,
there is, you can
100%.
feel that. It's a palpable feeling.
I think UFC would. I think MMA consumers in general, and even UFC product to a degree, they won't. They probably don't agree with this, but I'm just saying this from my take it for what it's worth. I think the UFC being pushed a little bit to be better than, which again, we're not saying they're not good. They're obviously quite good, but they're not their best until someone makes them, and then that's when you really see.
I was going to ask you if there was a outside of competition that could spur that, could it be another breakout star? I don't want to say on the McGregor level because I do think he's a one in a generation, but like not on the level like Max Holloway's amazing, Poirier's amazing, but they do have limits to their crossover stardom.
Well, Max blew up a little bit.
So what I'm saying is
up.
like, is it the next, whoever is the next in the lineage of Liddell, Lesnar, Rousey, Conor? We haven't seen the successor of that yet.
Nate got a little close.
He did.
He got pretty close.
He did. But like, is that the thing that could take the UFC to another level?
That's the thing too. Like, there's people who they've not experienced the genuine birth of a breakout superstar from start to finish.
Yeah, the Rousey ride was fun as shit,
yeah,
right?
like if you got here 2020 or you got here even 2021, like in the pandemic, you have not seen what that's like, and it is fucking, dude. I remember it wasn't even nearly as big, but to me, like, first of all, the first one I ever caught the wave, that's what I feel like, was John Jones.
Yes.
When John Jones was still at the Team Bomb Squad living in Endicott, New York, I had him on my radio show. Othello booked it.
Wow.
Othello booked that.
Shout out to Othello.
Shouts to Othello. He booked John Jones when John Jones was still practicing with the Cornell wrestling team between fights. So had him on. It was cool. That was a cool call at the time, obviously. And then to watch him go through Andre Guzmão and Stephan Bonner and Jake O'Brien and then all these fucking guys, Matt Yushchenko, Brandon Vera. Brandon Vera was supposed to be
Ryan Bader.
Ryan Bader
demolished.
Yeah, and then Shogun. People were like, "Dude, Shogun's going to give it to him." I'm like, "You have you idiots learned nothing about what this guy is doing? And then he goes in there and just fucking flatlines him. Or not pretty close.
Took the ultimate beating.
He got fucking.
He got
that,
the shit
when you
kicked out of him.
rewatch that, you realize that fight could have been stopped a little earlier.
A long time, yeah.
He took a beating. Anyway, watching that was electric. The other one.
But even Jones never caught that lineage.
No,
I got to put Anderson Silva in that lineage. I think he had.
Okay, he came here. I remember, dude. I was telling people at work the day that he was going to fight Chris Lieben. I remember this vividly. He got pretty close. GSP's another one. What I'm trying to point out is, have you sat there and watched from basically their UFC debut when no one knew who they were, but they're whatever, and they kind of just turn into this megastar. Maybe not at the level of Conor or Ronda yet, but even someone who just becomes champion, like just bulldozes through competition. All because you think about it, some people like they win, they lose, they win, they lose, then they climb, and maybe they get a title shot, and maybe they get a couple of them, but they didn't have a linear path. And then there's dudes who just buzzsaw through everyone. Khabib, John Jones, so far, Ilya.
Yeah.
Ilya, undefeated right through the champion. That's what I'm talking about. That shit. I know he's pissing everybody off. If he could get on everyone's good side like he has it, like if the USA treated him the way Spain treats him, he'd be a Conor McGregor superstar.
Does he have the personality to get to the level of? Because we're even saying that Anderson Silva and GSP, who are arguably two of the two greatest fighters of all time, depending on where you line up in that, like they were like Silva had close moments of crossover superstardom, but like him and GSP never consistently reached that Lesnar, Rousey, McGregor level.
They were just a tick below. Yes.
And think of how great they are, and they came just short of that. That's really hard to fucking get to that level.
Hard.
So does Topuria actually have the personality?
Also, there's an argument to be made that you need a GSP to get to a Conor. There is that argument.
100%. But do you think, because you're the super fan number 99 over here, do you think Ilya has the personality to reach that level? Because you rarely ever reach that level without a personality. Manny Pacquiao might be the only one, right? But then it was the charm of what he was.
And he was, dude, Pacquiao in his prime was a fucking machine gunner. So I'll say this: Conor, no, obviously he has connected with Spain in a way that's, you guys have seen it, but I don't know if that kind of thing will connect with an American audience. His English, I've said it before, it doesn't quite sound like his Spanish. His Spanish sounds his Spanish.
It makes you grossly gross.
No,
it does. It makes you
because
like a giant eggplant.
No, I'm not trying to say it that way. I'm trying to explain to people like it just doesn't sound the same. I know I've said this a million times, but it doesn't. It fucking does not sound the same. He sounds diminutive in English. It's really weird.
Like Canelo.
It's like Canelo. You think
I was born ready like that?
Yeah, dude. Like you think Canelo sounds like that in Spanish? He does not sound like that. You know what I mean? Everyone. I've been
in
on
English. She's like motherfucker, but then in Spanish she just rips into it.
Dude, like it was nothing. He was like, he was like asking him a question, like call and response with him.
Did you see the translation?
My wife gave me the translation.
When he tore up Oscar, dude, he went to.
I brought it up with him.
He went to lengths to mention Oscar's past. I mean, we made a fishnet joke with. I made one to Canelo today at the table, and he laughed at it.
Yeah.
I was like, Canelo, how do you say fishnets again in Spanish?
He did laugh at that. But by the way, like who we were thinking about this, like people who were blowing up. You know who I thought was going to, dude? I will never forget. What was it? UFC 110 maybe, when Cain Velasquez beat Lesnar.
Yeah, that broke my heart. That fight broke my heart.
Hold on. And dude, Cain Velasquez, same kind of thing. I know he had the loss to JDS right thereafter, right? But like from the moment he got to the UFC, just buzzsawed through everybody, got the fucking title, and I remember I had never seen so many like people who obviously were of Hispanic origin at an MMA fight or a UFC fight. I'd never seen that. I was like, dude, this motherfucker is about to explode in popularity. And then it just didn't quite work out that way.
He really had some. Him and Dom Cruz, obviously. I mean, that's some bad luck.
I know.
Just bad, and yet Cain was resilient in the fact that he came back from. I mean, the knee injury in a lot of ways caused the first JDS loss.
Yes.
But then to be able to come back from those serious injuries, to come back and win the title, and then to lose it to the C-level moment to Verdum.
Yeah.
And then to still come back, like he put it together at UFC 200 against Travis Brown.
He did.
Where I remember thinking like he's going to win the championship in his next fight. This is
Dude,
like he's back.
He despite everything that happened to him, I actually still consider what he did he achieved very highly. It's like to think what was possible and then what you got. It's like fuck me, man. Yeah. Oh my God, that was such. Dude, the UFC must have been like, we've got a Mexican heavyweight who is like a cardio at the time before like everything had gone off the tracks. Like at the time you thought was like a workhorse cardio heavyweight. You're like, holy fucking dude. If you don't know this, before all the sea level shit, Cane's reputation in MMA was that he had like a lightweight's cardio. It didn't work out that way in Mexico because Javier said they didn't acclimatize properly at all. Yeah. He got there like a week and a half before. Not going to work, you know. But dude, that's what I mean. Like I thought for sure he was going to be.
I thought Cody Garbrandt, as we all did, would be
Another
great.
Good call.
But
yes.
I specifically thought that he was going to be a pay-per-view star, like potentially household name. I don't know. I was so caught up in, but like I don't damn myself for being that caught up. The maturity of his title win over Dominic Cruz is just insane. I mean, he was brilliant that night, and he was dancing, and he was like brought in flavor. Where I thought, man, the look, the knockout power, the fact that he just gave a world-class performance against somebody that's difficult as Dom Cruz, and maybe if the UFC machine like puts it behind him, I'm like, he might hit. This might be something, and that's why it's been so sad to see like everything fall apart in such, destruct. I know he's trying to keep it together now, and he's having moments at times, but like you can see the frustration when you interview him. You know what I mean? Like he just can't.
It's got to be tough, man.
Anthony Pettis to some degree had that. Obviously not as dramatic, but like he was chasing the Wheaties box in some ways forever.
That's like that. You can. Okay, so we talked about this. Like, what's RDA's best win, motherfucker? That beating he put on Pettis.
Yeah.
Woo. He went to work on Anthony Pettis. And this was right after the Wheaties. Remember the Wheaties box?
Oh, hell yeah.
Fucking hell, dude. And then RDA went in there and just absolutely turned all the tables over and ruined everyone's party. That he did, dude. I remember that. I remember that very distinctly.
I'd love to hang. I wish you could just win a contest and like hang out with a UFC fighter for 3 hours. I'd love to just have beers with RDA. We don't want to just.
Oh, I'd have beers with RDA. Yes. Yeah.
There are fighters that we would have a lot of fun with. Okay?
Yeah, dude. I talk to not all the time, but like on occasion, there's a lot of fighters that I talk to over DMs, and emails, and stuff like that. I mean, I just check in here and here. I don't have necessarily have a lot of.
I mean, they could storm the Capitol, but that's their hobby. That's like it's like OnlyFans. It's like I can only judge up to a point, right? You know what I mean?
Oh my God! Do it, Jan 6th, the MMA, the official sport of January 6th.
That is so true. So was that a Trump look-alike that Ryan Garcia took that picture with? I gotta pull this picture up.
Right? My friends and I were debating this. Was that actually Trump? I don't think so. I think that was
because I'm like he could not have gotten plastic surgery that dramatic where he looks 30 years younger. That's like.
Does that guy look that much younger?
Wow, you got to see this. I got to find this. All right. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, that's not him.
That's not him. Can we?
Fuck, he looks a lot alike though.
Okay, can we pull this off? No? Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it's possible.
I mean that looks more like Rod Belding from that episode of Saved by the Bell. Remember he was going to take Zach on the whitewater rafting trip?
How tall is Ryan Garcia? Trump is kind of tall, right?
Yeah, Trump's pretty tall.
Like 6'1", 6'2", something like that.
Did they ever come up with a name with the one thing I hate is how Trump, who always dresses in classic American flag colors, but his ties go like down to his balls.
He's got the ball sack tie.
Why would you why, dude? Who does that?
I don't quite. So the way, where do you believe the tie should stop?
I think most people think it should stop at the belt. I like to do it a little bit higher than the belt, between the I like to do it right below the navel.
So the way they would teach, again, for whatever this is worth, the way they would teach it at the time, actually I'm not sure if I remember this anymore. But what I basically do is I took cues from the Marine Corps. I may have remixed it a little bit. I think that the tip of the tie should go right in the middle of the belt buckle.
See, Trump is tip to tip. He's got the tip of the tie right on
the tip of the tie right in the middle of the belt buckle. Okay. That's what I believe. So just over the belt.
See, I won't go that far. I like it a little shorter because then they'll give you more meat to do like a fat.
No, you have to get specialty ties when you're like as tall as us and whatnot. But
no, I don't need specialties. I'm talking.
Because you wear it high.
Yeah,
to wear it longer, you do.
But I've learned the tricks of the trade to be able to still get a fat knot if I'm looking for that.
See.
You know what I'm saying?
A fat knot.
Yeah. So I've been forming topics all week for this moment because I know the fans for some reason they love this bullshit.
I know we talked a lot of MMA. Again, I've been asking about pornography. You never want to
have
this
conversation. I'm just I have limits to my I don't know what I was gonna say, dude. We got to see a concert at the Sphere. Do you think we'll be back? Because
I still have to pay the OK Bet.
So here's the deal.
Debt.
I think O'Teal's in Vegas now. O'Teal,
dude, when I landed, the Sphere had the Grateful Dead symbol on the top of the
I know they're warming up in this current early week of May.
Yeah.
I know their residency begins in like next week or something. and then they're going like all summer, from now until the summer. Fish just did a mini residency, right? You two kicked it off. We have to be back in Vegas. We will, right? If you think about it, the Gervonta pay-per-views in Vegas in June, which is a possibility we can go to. We'll definitely be here for Conor, right? We have to go to the Sphere to see Dead and Company, which would allow you to pay off the debt, but I think also allow you the experience that a lot of us want to get is like, what is a concert like in this outer space arena?
It sounds like my nightmare.
I mean, what levels of Delta 8 use would you prescribe to yourself for this? Like, would you get yourself into just like,
overdose?
You went right for you went right for it. Yeah.
I'll do a power of attorney before I go, and you can leave my house to my wife.
Now, there's something on the floor. I can't tell if it's kind bud or actual shit.
No,
right there.
No, that's I think something from a muffin I had at Starbucks.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
It's mold.
My lady didn't come to fucking clean my room. I left money for her. Do you leave money for the people?
So I never even knew that was a thing until I met you.
Dude, these people are so underpaid.
So now I try to take out cash every time I come on a trip and leave something, whatever. What is the expected? What do you do?
It really depends. If it's been a couple of days, I can leave up to 20, but I usually leave 5 for a day.
Oh, you do 5 per day?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll do 5 for the whole trip.
Okay. Well, I mean,
well, dude, I didn't even know that was a thing up until this point.
Yeah,
I feel really bad.
My dad, he didn't teach us this when we were staying in fucking Motel 6s and Econo lodges.
I didn't realize how bad of a tipper I was till my wife just constantly called me out and showed me.
It's like, I mean, I know you, so I'm not going to say this is true in your case, but in general, if you're a bad tipper, you're a bad person.
I was a bad tipper, and I definitely think there were times in my life that I did some shitty things and but I don't know if that correlates perfectly, seamlessly.
People who are bad tippers are, just scum, just fucking burn them alive, send them to ISIS, and then secondly, people who don't put their shopping carts back, you're scum of the earth.
I agree with you, but the reason why I commit to that is because I used to do shopping carts. I did shopping carts to Stop and Shop when we had to wear dress shirt, tie, and then like Stop and Shop jacket over it.
Principal's jacket.
And you'd be out there in 90 degrees, and they wouldn't let you like take it off. Like you would just be sweating. So I know how much it sucks doing that job. So that's why I do that.
Dude, I did a job for fucking working doors at a bar in New York City when I lived there, and they made me stand outside in the cold, and they never had a heat lamp. Like I was like, why can't I? Because there was there's a walk through to get to it, and I was like, why can't I stand in here? And they were like, no, you have to do it outside. And I was like, fuck me, dude.
Did you ever deny somebody entrance and then they got all tough with you and stuff?
Yes, but it's never really that big of a deal.
Is it demeaning to be a bouncer at all?
It can be, yeah, it can be. It really depends. Like certain times, because there's a difference between like a bouncer and a doorman, and so like I start out as a doorman, and that also means you might have to like sweep the floor and take out the trash at the end of the night.
You'd be a bar back.
No, you don't have to do any bar back. You check doors, you work security, it's like an apprenticeship. And then, but the way it works in New York City now is that, like, my understanding is that most of these places for their security, they contract out, like, security firms. Like, bouncers aren't hired necessarily, like,
hey, you play high school football? Come in.
No. It's like, how Mayweather has, people always ask, like, where
employs the largest humans.
I know, but people ask, like, how did he find them? Because he called a security agency. That's how he found them. He's like, give me the biggest fucking goons that you got. And, dude, they sent him big-ass goons.
He would have dudes regularly that were, like, 6'6" and jacked. Dude, but do you remember that one black dude that was, like, 6'8"?
He was probably, no.
He wasn't that jacked. He was more big. The fat, tall dude.
He was nearly 7 feet
tall.
That
guy was
huge.
Yo, if shit went down and that guy got hands on people, like, he would just... Andre the Giant level, crush him, and then, dude, Andre had to, he couldn't fit into the bathroom on the plane, so when he had to shit,
like in a bucket,
they would go in the back where, like, the stewardesses prepare your food, and they would, like, put a curtain up, and he would shit right there, where audibly, do you know what the meaning that must, no wonder that guy drank so much.
It's like moving an elephant. Seriously.
Damn.
Like a fucking barn animal.
That's why I think Big John owed me those stories from Tokyo, right? Did he no sell? He punted?
I think it touched a nerve.
Yeah. BJM, if you're out there, we know what happened in Tokyo, okay?
I mean, listen, I have certainly gone to a foreign country and destroyed a commode or two.
Yeah. But you talking about a toilet, or you told me you've used the holes in the floor.
I have done that in Turkey.
Dude, that is so demeaning.
here's what I'll say.
From OnlyFans to the hole in the floor, dude. Come on.
Here's what I'll say. It's definitely not my preferred way to go to the bathroom. But what I will say is, if you only travel to nice places, you're just not seeing the world as it is.
Okay, I say there's a
also, by the way,
Turkey
is nice. I'm not suggesting
there are
it's
limits
not.
to that statement. If I have to shit somewhere disgusting and there's not even handles, there's not even a seat.
I understand. What I'm trying to tell you is there are certain parts of the world still that are worth seeing, that nevertheless have not the most modern amenities as it relates to defecation. But that's not as uncommon as you might imagine.
Okay. What countries are currently on your list that you haven't been to that you're like, when we get some money, baby, we're going there?
Those are still nice ones. Like, I really want to go see South Korea. I really want to go see South Korea. I want to go see Argentina. That's the number one. My number one, my wife knows this, my number one request to travel has been to go to Argentina. Dude, it's fucking far. It's 5 hours from D.C. to Bogota.
Yeah.
And then from Bogota to Buenos Aires.
Yeah.
It's another 10. It's another 10, dude.
No, from Bogota
to Buenos Aires is another 10.
I don't see how that's possible.
That's what I'm trying to explain to people. It's fucking far, bro. It's far.
Damn.
So I don't want to do that shit. Dude, you can go on fucking cruises to like the South Pole nearly from Argentina.
I'm not into that shit. I really want to go to both Chile and Argentina. It looks like a very fun authentic culture there. And dude, Martin is a fucking gaucho. You know that guy, Martin Bader? I love that. Yo, he's a pretty good ass translator, first of all.
He is a good translator.
And he's a great guy,
good.
Second of all. But he's really good on camera. Like, I think he could be an actor or something.
Yeah. It's just funny to hear. I mean, to have an Argentinian translator, it's funny. It's like a Brit translating for an American or something.
Canelo makes fun of him all the time and is like, don't translate for me. You don't know what you're talking about.
Well, but also, it's just the way he talks too. Like, there's a certain kind of, rhythm.
Did you notice at the press conference when Canelo went on that rant in Spanish?
Okay.
Martin did not translate it.
He edited out a bunch.
So he wasn't going to translate it, and then somebody yelled for him to do it. And because Miguel Flores was about to talk again, and then they were like, "Oh, hold on, we got a translation." And to your point, he summarized it. He didn't mention everything. He was like, and then Canelo accused Oscar of, and didn't say anything. Oscar interrupts Martin in English and goes, "I called him a motherfucker and a pussy because he stole from me," and he went on this rant in English, talking over Martin.
Yeah.
Yo, Canelo was like, "I want not just the Spanish speakers to understand. I want the whole world to understand that Oscar's a piece of shit." Now that also breaks my heart because I love Oscar, but I also, I've seen some things.
Dude, Leonard Ellerby.
Yo, Leonard Ellerby hates Oscar.
I didn't realize it was that venomous.
Oh, dude, Leonard Ellerby was like, if you say another thing, you don't think I will, but I'm gonna come over there and smack that shit. Like he basically. That's why I said he drew a line in the sand.
He called him a horrible person.
Like multiple times. Yeah.
Dude, Leonard did.
But here's the thing, though, because I don't know if you saw that interview Oscar did immediately after the press conference with DAZN, where he was like, "Man, I was Eminem up there," and you could see how fired up he is. Dude, he fucking loves playing the villain, and he's kind of good at it.
Who, Oscar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's pretty good at it, dude. Like, seriously.
Okay, here's the thing.
He adds flavor to this.
Here's what I can't tell if he definitely enjoys being the villain, but I can't tell how much of it is strategic and how much of it he just stumbles into because he makes dumbass decisions.
Yeah, that's part of it. I mean, those abs are a very questionable pickup.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, he just does crazy shit.
Explain to me how those abs work. What are they etching out? What are they removing so that the abs look fake and bloated like that all the time?
I think that they're just adding a plate, some kind of.
So those are muscles he developed, or are those his natural abs?
No, because they don't move. I think it's an insertion of a foreign object that looks like it's.
See,
jacked.
I hate plastic surgery in general. I'm not saying there's not times when I get it.
When you see good plastic surgery, it changes your perspective a little bit.
But that's a culture in South America, right? Aggressively.
Not just in South America, but there's other places where they do really good. Like, I agree. Here's what I would say. I definitely agree that there is just a line between getting work done and then fucking Frankensteining yourself.
Yeah.
Especially
when
you're getting multiple surgeries to change over time and then fix old problems and whatnot. Like it. There becomes a point of no return, right?
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
But what I would say is when you find high quality surgery that's done in a limited but focused way, Looks pretty fucking good to me. I'll tell you that.
I'd have to test drive it. I'd have to
It's
really,
case
you know,
by
I'd
case,
really
case by
have
case
to-
basis, you know. But
Yeah.
I've definitely seen remarkable plastic surgery. Yeah.
Are you considering any?
No. I am considering TRT, 100%.
Yeah, but
considering
you're starting to get to the point where it's becoming a recurring consideration that never has any fuel.
That's not true. It's got
fire.
plenty of fuel.
I mean, just
The
inject
question
that.
is, will I or won't I? 100% I will. I can't quite seem to find the right time to start.
How about tomorrow? I bet you. No, seriously, or right now, I bet you we could get
Once you start, you can't stop. So you're making a lifelong commitment at that point, or pretty close to it.
Oh, you have to be on TRT. You have to be on testosterone therapy to feel that way again.
Probably for the rest
So you're
of your
going to be
life,
chasing
yeah.
that dragon forever.
Well, it'd be medically administered, but yes, you would have to continually do this. I don't know if that's a commitment I'm ready to make right now.
I get that. I was just saying, just let somebody stick it right in your ass. Just be like, let's see what
You
happens.
think I have shame about that? I don't have shame about that.
No Diddy.
I don't mean it that way. I just mean if I want to get the drugs, I'm going to get the fucking drugs. Like
Yeah.
I'm not going to just like, you know.
Would there be a scenario that you would feel like I'm trying to see what could I do to trap you or get you angry enough that you actually would agree to bet your beard? What would be the level where you're like, you know what?
I would only bet that as like
And it's
a
not full
last
time.
condition to like save my family or something.
Okay, so here's what the bet would be. Like it would just be one shaving and then take pictures and appear on camera. Like it wouldn't be like, oh, this is your new look. It's just one shaving, and I don't know how quickly you could grow back. Not just a shadow, but something that you would be fine with that wouldn't make you feel so bare. But we deserve that moment of bareness. We deserve you. So I want you to have to earn the shame that comes with that. So you know what I mean? Because you don't know what's
Yeah, why don't I sign up for this tomorrow? You fucking
so
idiot.
there's got to be something on the line that you would win if your side of it won that would make it worth risking.
I don't.
it,
I
you
mean,
know?
I don't gamble much for that reason. I don't think of.
It's just a shaving. You know what I mean? Like
There's
it's not
nothing
gonna,
I want like
This
that.
isn't a tattoo. This isn't like
rather
go
get a- I'd
run
rather get a
naked
ta-
in
I'd
the
rather get a
park.
tattoo.
This is just shave the beard one time in a bet.
I cannot believe how I never think about your appearance except when it's in front of me. And
I mean, what's the price?
It annoys me.
What like if
And how
it,
much you dwell on my
okay,
appearance.
but if it came to the level of me providing financial
I want you to know. Hold on a
value,
second. Before we go further, I would like you to know I do not think of you in this way at all.
okay, but I know what the fans really want. All right.
They want me to shave my beard.
I think they do one
Why?
time. I think they want to just see
What's the
what's
impetus?
under there. They want to see you.
It's
just,
like Chuck Mindenhall without the hat.
it is, I think, to some
Yeah.
degree, because you've been hiding behind that thing for this whole time.
I like my
you know?
beard. Why am I
I mean,
killing
it's
it?
a pretty good beard. You know, I'm not
I like my
saying
beard.
that
It's a
negative.
trademark thing too. Like
I just want to get you in a situation where at least we can ride that wave of adrenaline that you could lose it.
I mean, I'll never say never, but it would have to be. You'd have to offer something.
What do
significant.
I have to put on the line and risk, or how mad do I have to get you? Where you're like, you know what, motherfucker, we're putting the beard. We're doing the beard bet right now.
I mean, you can sort of GoFundMe 100K cash. I'd do it for that. I'd do it for 100K. GoFundMe.
You see, that's stupid. That's too far. You know.
Well, I mean, you're asking me like what the price is. The
Realistic price, we have to make it happen.
I'm
you know?
not gonna fucking underbid just for your amusement.
I don't think this is like it's
You
not
gotta,
like I'm like.
you gotta come with the ducats.
It's not like drink vampire blood or eat a cricket or something. I mean,
I
just
eat a
shave
cricket.
once, you know.
You ever eaten a goldfish?
An actual fish? No. That
Like
was
like pull a goldfish
it
out
sounds
and
like
just
a
fucking eat
frat
it live?
prank,
Yeah,
right?
I did.
Yeah. Were you Delta Gamma Bama? What was this?
I was old Black Betty Bambalam. Oh, Black Betty Bambalam. Oh,
Bambalam, whoa. I think people say that's racist that those guys sang that.
Is it?
Because it's an old song rooted from slavery.
Oh, fuck, man. Okay, well, I didn't
And
know.
then these random white guys in the band called Ram Jam.
All right, I did not know.
No, but I don't know if like they got canceled. I'm just saying there was an undercurrent of that. You know?
I saw there was like a metal band, and their name was, I'm not kidding, their name was Black Pussy. You could imagine that caused a stir. I don't know if they're
Yeah.
still around or not, but that was the thing.
Did you take that full 16-ounce Dos Equis can downtown?
No, I barely drink it. It's almost full. It's inedible.
You're gonna pour it down the drain. Admit it. Actually, you're just gonna.
Well, because
leave
my lady didn't even fucking clean my room, I'm just gonna leave this motherfucker here.
Yeah, you probably will. Yeah. Do you? Because there's many a time where I'll have basically like a full amount of food in the fridge, and then like you're like, oh man, I'm flying tomorrow. I'm not gonna eat that. Do you think it goes to waste? Because if I was a maid and I came up on that
You
shit,
eat that food?
I would eat the shit out of it, especially if I looked untouched. Like it looked like it was, Okay, you know what the grossest thing I ever did? I don't actually know if this was that gross. You tell me, okay?
Okay.
Do you remember the weekend that we met?
We can call this off anytime.
2013, Floyd versus Canelo, September, right? Remember that?
Yep.
Great fight week, right?
Yep. Big fight week.
My first time ever being in Las Vegas. My first time ever covering, obviously, a Vegas fight. And like a fight on that level, too, right? Like a fucking pay-per-view in Vegas. ESPN sent me out there. So, we go out drinking. I mean, I remember that first night, I was up 26 hours because, you get up at like 3 a.m. to catch the early flight and you go right into a full work day and then you're up already. Dude, Andy Ruiz was buying us shots of whiskey in the bar at the MGM Grand. Like, we randomly ran into him. And I was walking back to my hotel room just drunk as balls at like 3 a.m. or whatever. And people had gotten room service and they had pulled their full table out. But the guacamole was completely untouched. The plastic wrapping was over it. And there was a bowl of chips. Now the chip bowl was full. God. Dude, I know you got me.
You
I was
did
like,
not.
I took.
Someone could have sneezed into your. Like,
I took the no, but the guac had the plastic over it and it was untouched. The chips were a wild card because they were open, but it was a full bowl of them. Oh and I took the bowl in the guac. And I remember I sat in my room in like a white T-shirt and underwear and ate it sloppily, and it's all over the pillowcases. And I just looked down and I'm like, this is probably the lowest moment. Like I don't think there's a sub-basement of shame in this era of my life. But in hindsight, I think about that moment a lot, especially when I'm walking down the hallway at these hotels. I might do it again. At that moment, I might do it again.
All right, I'll end it by telling you a great moment of shame for me. If you'll, I don't know if I've probably told parts of the story. I don't know if I told the whole thing. So this homecoming that I went to, this one I referenced earlier.
This college?
Yeah, it was William & Mary. It was my own homecoming. My girlfriend at the time dumped me at homecoming.
Oh, God, that's awful.
After we'd been drinking, like all of us there were drinking, like she just dumped me at homecoming, like very visibly just left.
Do you think we can find her on Facebook later?
I don't even want to go there.
I'll look at the pics. I'll body shame if we have to.
No, I don't want to do any of that. But what I would say is that wasn't a great night for me. So it was just, I was like, it was terrible. I think I cried at a Hooters with my friends. So I was sitting at the table trying to order, like sniffling like a pathetic little worm.
Oh, that's the best story ever.
I mean, what am I supposed to do? I was fucking heartbroken.
Yeah, but you're like, let's go to Hooters. We'll make you forget.
So my friends, I walked off campus because they were like, let's just get off campus, let's go. And the closest restaurant was literally right there. It was this fucking Hooters.
God, that's
gross. So I'm just in there just boohooing, Anyway, I get it together, and we ended up having a pretty fun night because I actually connected. Well, I mean, it was still a terrible night, but I did manage to connect with somebody I knew, and then I went. I was like, no. I mean, I ran into some friends.
Okay.
And then I went shoplifting at the local Wawa, and I remember I took one of those giant bags of salt and vinegar potato chips. My friend took a giant 24-pack of water on the way out. I mean, just dirtbag shit, right? I also I had a tall boy of beer. And I don't remember anything. I don't remember going home, but I do remember waking up in the hotel again, like a Howard Johnson, just a very suboptimal experience. Okay, and I'll never forget. I woke up with just enough to see that I was absolutely covered in potato chips, like the little crumbs, not like actual potato chips, like the shit at the bottom of the bag, everywhere. And I didn't realize I now was able to put it back together afterwards. But I had just enough of a look where I could see the tall boy here, and I was so startled by what I saw that I jolted and then poured the tall boy, poured the tall boy all over me, trying to get up, and I was I hadn't brushed my teeth.
Oh, that's gross.
And I was like, dude, that was terrible.
Yeah, I have way too many stories in those categories. Yeah, that's
yeah. So it hasn't all been sunshine and roses, but boys and girls. All right.
Wow,
anything else you want to say to them? It's a good time to end.
Yeah, now would be the time to just sign off. But we gave I hope the thing about our fans is I don't necessarily want to touch all of them, but from a virtual sense, I want to bang them all. I want to give them what they want.
We're gonna bang each other.
You just want them to stay away.
No, that's not true.
All right.
I see them, dude. Okay, let me say this. We'll end on this. Do you know how many MK fans who identified as such by themselves I have run into in the last 6 months, and in particular at the gym?
That's crazy.
Dude, tons of them. I have been shocked at the number.
That's awesome.
They come up constantly, and so to all those folks
In your front yard.
No. Like I go to a brick and mortar gym.
Yeah.
I do work out in my yard if the weather's nice, but the rest of the time I'm at the brick and mortar gym. So anyway, that has been amazing. So that's not true. But like online, am I trying to be everyone's pen pal? I'm not trying to be everyone's pen pal.
No. And I get the everyone wants, rightfully so, the finished MK 2.0 product, and we're building toward it. So there's still some
it's growing
pains and frustrations. But thank you, MK World, for staying with us in this transition. And,
more to come.
Like really cool shit could still be and is still in the plans to be on our way. It just takes
a
little bit of time,
In the middle,
is that Jimmy Eat World?
Yeah, Jimmy.
Hey, don't count yourself out yet, right? Yeah.
All right, we're done.
Yeah, that's right.